The terrorist attacks has raised questions over the law and security apparatus of Europe. An instant comparison is with the United States. But what exactly is the difference? Our senior foreign editor Padma Rao brings you this report.
Yet another willful murderer weaving his truck amongst innocent crowds. Yet more bloodshed. 14 people lost their lives when a white transporter mowed them down on a mellow summer evening in Spain's Barcelona. The attacker is on the loose. Europeans are angry and panicked. This is the third time that Islamist terrorists have run heavy vehicles amok amidst crowds, out to do nothing more harmful than enjoy a promenade, window shop, hang out in a street-side cafe. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, in the country which is at the helm of the anti-terror war being waged in the Middle East and supported by these European nations, it's quite a different picture. There are other instances of violence, but not Islamist terror attacks. Let's break down where, how many, and importantly, why. In the United States on 9/11/2001, there were 3,000 casualties. Between 2001 and 2017, there were a total of 94 casualties. In Europe, between 2001 and 2017, there were 635 casualties. Security analysts point to a curious factor. The United States leads the war against Islamist terrorism around the world and in its epicenter in Afghanistan, Pakistan. It is several times larger than Europe. Its cities are far more densely populated, and yet the United States has yet to see a mass attack with a weapon as everyday as a truck, as has been the case in Europe. In the United States on 9/11/2001, it was a hijack, it was air crashes. In Europe, trucks in crowded markets, attacks on music halls, public transport, hostage-taking. But if the United States is an industrialized economic superpower, so are the states of the European Union. So why this glaring difference? And why is Europe, not the United States, under massive attack? In the US, there is unified intelligence sharing and law enforcement between individual US states. In Europe, there's a lack of routine intelligence sharing, poor coordination between individual EU countries. In the US, there's tough homeland security at the entry point to the United States. There are uniform laws and the country is far from Syria. In Europe, there are open porous borders and differing laws in individual EU states, and the continent is closer to Syria. It's also the nature of public discourse that varies. In the US, nearly 100% support for zero-tolerance anti-terror policies, whereas in Europe, this put stops on surveillance and stress on privacy laws. And finally, there are more Western Europeans fighting along with the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria as compared to Americans. Only about 100 Americans joined the renegade terror group, while almost 4,000 Europeans have traveled to join the Islamic State. While the United States' Muslim population overall is less than 1% of the total population and better integrated, the European Muslim population ranges from between 5 and 10%. And given the influx of refugees escaping the wars that the same West has created, given Europe's welcome all policies based on human rights, that number is swelling exponentially. Padma Rao, WION.